There has been a societal shift steadily growing on the horizon. The Passport Brothers as a movement has been a significant shift in societal dynamics that evolved from the periphery of cultural dialogue into a mainstream topic of conversation. The progression of this movement, from being an underground group to a recognized mainstream phenomenon, bears striking resemblances to the great American social movements of the 1960s and 1970s. Specifically, there are compelling parallels to the civil rights movement, the hippie movement, and other counterculture movements of the time. To understand the popularity of this burgeoning movement, we must first examine its origins. To really grasp the scope of this movement, we can trace its origins all the way back to military men of World War I, expats, and groups of men who sought to find a better quality of life within the areas of relationships and to broaden their perspectives through international travel. The modern movement started as an online community, a digital underground of sorts, where men shared their experiences, tips, and insights about traveling abroad and finding peace and happiness with foreign romantic partners. It found its name in the shared practice of its members to keep their passports ready for the next adventure, hence the name, Passport Brothers. As the number of members increased, the movement evolved into a cultural phenomenon that encouraged men to expand their worldview, ditch the negative treatment by Western women, and to explore different cultures through travel. The group gained visibility through social media platforms, and despite the occasional negative press, the movement has succeeded in changing many people's views on dating abroad, international travel, and cultural exposure. When we take a comparative view of both, the civil rights movement and the Passport Brothers movement, we start to see some striking similarities. The civil rights movement of the 1960s was a seminal period in American history. While it may seem unlikely to compare the Passport Brothers movement with this pivotal social and political revolution, both movements share a commitment to promoting greater understanding, acceptance, and equality. The civil rights movement was a struggle for social justice that aimed to end racial discrimination against African Americans and secure their legal rights. Similarly, the Passport Brothers movement, although not political in nature, encourages mutual understanding and acceptance of all cultures and races, viewing travel as a tool to break down barriers and foster unity among different nationalities and ethnicities. Moreover, just as the civil rights movement gained momentum through grassroots organizing and word-of-mouth communication, so too did the Passport Brothers movement. Both movements began with small, passionate groups committed to positive societal change and grew as their messages resonated with broader audiences. When you take a comparative look at the hippie movement and the Passport Bro movement, many strikingly similar patterns start to emerge as well. The hippie movement, another major cultural shift in the 1960s and 1970s, also shares similarities with the Passport Brothers movement. The hippies were counterculture rebels who rejected conventional societal norms, favoring instead peace, love, communal living, and exploration of the self and the world. The Passport Brothers can be seen as the modern, digital age iteration of the hippies, with a focus on exploring the world rather than the self. Both movements encourage breaking away from societal norms and conventions, with the Passport Brothers advocating for a life of travel and intercultural exploration, and the hippies promoting a life of introspection, peace, and love. While the hippies often lived communally and rejected materialism, the Passport Brothers embraced the use of technology and digital platforms to share their experiences and encourage others to join their movement. Yet, at their core, both movements share a fundamental belief in personal freedom, self-discovery, and a rejection of rigid socially constructed false narratives. The rise of the Passport Brothers also resembles the emergence of various counterculture movements in the 60s and 70s. As a collective movement driven by men, Passport Brothers challenged the norm of accepting Western women's agenda to promote a negative narrative of masculinity. No longer willing to sit idly by and accept the continual derogatory attacks made by women against them, these men began to take action. Not willing to allow these Western women to confine them to negative masculine stereotypes, these men opted for a better solution and chose to seek a better, more enriching life abroad. Like so many other counterculture movements of the past, the Passport Brothers movement has gone from decentralized to centralized and is rapidly growing in popularity amongst men from all around the Western Hemisphere. In summary, the Passport Brothers movement, while a unique phenomenon of the digital age, shares significant similarities with the civil rights movement, the hippie movement, and other counterculture movements of the 1960s and 1970s. Each of these movements, in their own way, aim to challenge societal norms, denounce false narratives, promote greater understanding and acceptance, and to foster societal change. The Passport Brothers movement is an example of how individuals can use modern tools, like social media and digital platforms, to create a sense of global community and foster understanding between cultures. Its rise from a digital underground group to a mainstream movement mirrors the growth and societal impact of the influential social movements of the past, serving as a testament to the enduring human desire for freedom, understanding, and societal progress.